What's up fam? It's Legend and I am back with another video. What if Naruto was neglected before getting the proper training? The like goal for the video is 6 likes, and if we can get more that will be cool. But let's get into this intro and then this what if. Everyone headed to the balcony except Karen and Han. Naruto leaned on the rail and Yugao stood behind him, arms folded. Kakashi stood next to her with Sasuke in front of him. Sakura stood between her two male teammates but closer to the block. Kakashi turned to Yugao with a confused gaze. "Aren't you going to stand next to Tenten?" Yugao didn't look at him because she was focused on Karen's sword. "Why would I do that?" "Well, she's your student, isn't she?" Tenten overheard the conversation, and looked at the Cyclops Jonin. "What? I don't know her." Kakashi's eyes widened and turned to Yugao, narrowing his eyes. "Where is your student? Did they make it?" He turned to Karen and came up with a conclusion. "I see, it's her. Not sure how you train someone from another village, but I look forward to seeing her fare against Sasuke." "Are we late?" Everyone turned to Tsunade and Shizune walking in, Tsunade standing between Kakashi and Yugao behind Sakura. Shizune gave Naruto a wink and stood behind Ino, who was standing on Naruto's right side. "Tsunade-sama, when did you get here?" "A few months ago." "I see, so why are you here?" "I doubt you're interested in seeing Genin fight." "I wanted to see my student perform," Tsunade answered. "And before you answer, I'm not telling you." Tsunade turned to see Anko walking behind Hinata but eyeing her nervously. "By the way, Naru-chan, I have something to tell you later about what Anko did." "Huh, alright," Naruto said, turning to the snake mistress, who looked nervous. Karen and Han stood across from each other, while Hayate was between them. "Now the first match of the Chunin exam will begin. The match is over when one of you forfeit or I say it's over. You may begin." Karen smirked. "I can tell you're strong. From what I can see, you have that furnace on your back that connects to your armor. Does it heat it to a certain degree, make you hot to touch?" "Good analysis, but I doubt just looking at me gave you that assumption." Han responded. "You would be correct. I can sense chakra and the type of chakra of an individual. You feel hot and wet. Boil, release, and also, I see. I'm fighting two opponents," Karen said, narrowing her eyes. Han smirked under his mask. "I see, you know my secret. But you don't seem worried." "True, but against an opponent like you." Karen took off her glasses and grabbed the hilt of the sword. "I might have to try a little harder." Sasuke scoffed and narrowed his eyes. "That's stupid. Why did she take off her glasses?" "She put herself at a disadvantage and now she can't see," Sasuke said, thinking he knew everything. Samui, Shizuka, Kuritsuchi and Kin looked at him disappointedly like they knew something. "Is that what you think?" Sasuke turned to Yugao. "Because you would be wrong." "And who are you?" Yugao narrowed her eyes at the Uchiha and turned to Kakashi. "Senpai, you need to teach your students some respect." Kakashi shrugged his shoulders. "What did you mean by that, Yugao-sensei?" Sakura asked. "Naruto-kun, why don't you answer?" Yugao said. "I doubt Naruto would know if Sasuke didn't," Kakashi said, downplaying his student. "Reverse sight," Naruto answered. "She got rid of her eyesight and increased her other senses. I assume mostly her touch and hearing. Along with her sensing abilities, she most likely has 360-degree vision. She's aware of everything and everyone in this room. Please, like you, know anything dead last. You probably made all that up," Kiba said, arrogantly. "Kurenai-san, You need to teach your students some respect, Yugao said before turning to Kiba. And you Inuzuka, you need to stop trying to make Naruto look like a fool. Well, he is the deal asked. Kiba retorted but flinched when Yugao glared at him. Really? Because it's funny how he got the right answer, Yugao said, surprising Kakashi, Sasuke and Kiba. How did you know that, Naruto-kun? Ino asked. Because, I know the technique but with different conditions, Naruto answered. Naruto don't lie. Hush, Hataki Tem, the match is about to start, Naruto said, cutting Kakashi off. Karen charged Han with a horizontal slash from her sword but Han blocked it with his armor. Han armor started to heat up causing the temperature around him to rise. Carrie jumped back to gain some distance, but Han chased after her and went in for a punch. Karen steps out of the way and Han hits the ground, creating a crater. You have a lot of physical power, Karen said before charging Han with blinding speed. And you are fast, I'm impressed, Han responded, while defending himself from multiple sword slash with his. Han grabbed her sword and went in for a punch with his other hand. Karen grabbed her sheath and surrounded it with wind chakra, using it to block the attack, breaking the hand part of the armor, surprising the Jinchuriki. She then thrust it forward, breaking his chest plate, revealing his seal. Han eyes widen and jump back. What happened, Han? The match is not over, Karen said before going through some hand signs. Resenku, Karen shit a powerful wind attack towards. Not happening, Yubiki Horyu Jutsu. Han shot a wave of boiling water through his mask, colliding with Han's attack. Karen smiled and went and did a different hand sign. To the surprise of everyone, Han's boiling water started turning to ice. That's just like Haku, Naruto commented. I guess you didn't know. Naruto turned to see Honka approaching him. My husband was from the Yuki clan. I settled in Kiri before the war broke out. My husband stayed behind when we were being hunted by Hunter Nin. Although I told her to hide it. I see, thanks for the info Ne-chan, Naruto said. Hinoka chuckled and patted Naruto's head. You really are adorable, Ne-san, huh? I always wanted a little brother, Hinoka responded. Excuse me, but who are you? Kakashi asked. Honaka turned to the one-eyed Jonin. Hinoka Uzumaki, Karen's sensei and mother. Kakashi's eyes widened before smiling. Nice to meet you, I'm Kakashi Hatake. Naruto's sensei. Only in name, Naruto commented, while watching the match. Hinoka saw the slight anger in Naruto and decided to ask him later. It seems your abilities counter mine, Han commented. Soon a red cloak started to surround his body. I guess, I'll get a little more serious. He had a red horse-like cloak with 3 tails. I see, well I guess I should respond in kind, Karen said, sheathing her sword. She then turns to Naruto. Naruto-kun, I want you to pay attention to one of our clan's high-level techniques. Karen was surrounded by a huge dark blue sphere of chakra. I am not sure what you are doing, but that's an impressive amount of chakra. Han commented. I'm surprised you're not attacking me, may I ask why? I'm interested in your clan's technique and it'll be rude to attack you without seeing all you can do. I see, well I must thank you, Karen replied as the chakra around her started to move faster. I don't get it, what is that girl talking about? That idiot Naruto isn't from a clan. And there is no such thing as the Uzumaki clan. He's just a clanless, Kiba said. He then froze when he felt killer intent from Naruto, Karen, Hinoka and Tsunade. You should know when to shut your mouth, Tsunade scolded. Sakura, explain to Kiba about the Uzumaki clan since he is ignorant. Hi, the Uzumaki clan were shinobi from a small village in the land of Whirlpool. They have abnormal chakra levels and are masters of Fuinjutsu, Kenjutsu and chakra manipulation. They also had a long lifespan and had the possibility of producing multiple bloodlines. Sakura said, earning a nod from Tsunade. Well, they must be weak because I never heard of them. Kiba said. I see Sakura forgot to mention that they're cousins to the Senju clan, which is my clan and also my grandmother was a Uzumaki. Tsunade said, earning a gulp from Kiba. And they're not weak. After all, it took Kuma, Aim and Iwa to take down their small village and they lost 80% of their force. There's no way the Dobi is from a clan that's strong. Kiba said. Can you shut up and watch the match? Naruto said, irritated by Kiba's insult. Karen started to inhale the chakra surrounding her and steam was produced from her body. Her body started to glow a pinkish color. Then her body started to glow blue on the outline of her body. Naruto narrowed his eyes and turned to Hinata. Hinata-chan, can you use your Byakugan to see what her chakra is doing in her body? Of course Naruto-kun, Byakugan. Hinata had veins around her eyes and looked at Karen. Her chakra is circulating through her body. Also her chakra limiter is open but somehow it's not tearing up her body. The speed of the chakra circulating is fast and heating up her body and infusing in her blood cells and muscles. I see, she is pushing her body to her physical limit and thanks to being a Uzumaki, her body seems to withstand the pressure for now. Naruto commented. Correct, that's why Uzumaki can handle it. In the past, I heard someone outside our clan attempted the technique and their muscles were torn to shreds. Hanoka said. Sasuke seethed. Damn, but my power is stronger. Still wish I could copy their jutsu for myself. The rubble started to rise in the air as the air became denser around the two. Karen unsheathed her sword and held it in her right hand and her sheath in her left. No, I'm ready. Thanks for waiting, but you will regret it. We'll see. Han responded before they both disappeared in a blur. Soon you could feel shockwaves around and streams of blue and red jumping back and forth, clashing with each other. What? How are they moving this fast? Ino questioned. Not sure, but I'm glad I'm not fighting them, Choji said. I don't know about that. I would love to fight them. Pretty cool, Naruto commented. Please, you can't beat anyone here dead last, Kiba said with a cocky expression. Wow, do you get turned on by insulting me or something? Maybe it's because you can't get a girlfriend, Naruto commented. Kiba fumed with anger. Like you can. No girl will ever like a loser. When Sakura heard this, she looked at Ino, who was looking at her. They smirked and both nodded at each other. Both formal fangirls walked towards the blonde Uzumaki and kissed his cheek and turned to the match like nothing happened. Kiba was mimicking a fish. Naruto notices and smirks. You were saying. Karen appeared out of nowhere and began to dodge multiple chakra claws trying to grab her, but she kept slashing at them. Once she caught sight of the Jinchuriki, she made some ice shuriken and threw it at him. Han dodged it with ease and runs towards the Uzumaki. His enhanced fist meets her wind blade, causing her explosion. Futon. Kudan. Karen chanted as she slid back and shot air pressure bullets at Han. Karen drops her sword and runs towards Han, with her body surrounded by wind chakra. They began trading blow for blow. Destroying the floor, Karen palmed Han's helmet, destroying it. She then roundhouse kicked him, sending him to a wall. Han used his chakra to stick to the wall and jumped back to Karen. He grabbed her head and dragged her through the ground before tossing her towards the ceiling. I'm impressed that the girl can fight like this against a Jinchuriki. She's very skilled, Yugao said. I'll say, pretty cool. I would love to fight her, Samui added. What do you think, Gaara? Tamari asked her brother. She will be a problem for us. Han has the 5-tail, so if she can fight him like this, I might have a problem. Plus she uses wind and water jutsu. She's strong, but I'm interested in Naruto, Gaara answered. That makes two of us, but for different reasons, Tamari said. I'm surprised Han is having a hard time with her, Kuritsuchi said. She could honestly say Han could beat her in a fight, but Karen was matching him. I'm not sure what to think, Akatsuchi said. Sweden. Sweden no jutsu. Karen shot water bullets towards Han. Han ran through it like nothing, but he didn't notice Karen took out a seal tag. Once Han was in range, chakra chains erupted from Karen's body and wrapped around Han, pulling him forward. What was all Han could say when his Biju chakra was receding in his body. Karen met him halfway and placed a suppressing seal tag on his stomach. Han's eyes widened before he passed out. Karen grabbed him and sat him down gently. Hayate approached the two before raising his hand towards Karen. Han is unable to continue. Karen Uzumaki is the winner. Karen nodded and put on her glasses before walking up the stairs to Shizuka and Hinoka. She saw Naruto and smirked. So, what did you think? Naruto returned the smirk with a cheesy smile. That was impressive. I can tell you worked hard and to fight someone like Han. Naruto-kun is right. You did well, Hinoka commented. Great work, Karen-san, Shizuka said. Naruto-kun. The group turned to Sakura and saw her pointing at the screen. Naruto's eyes widened. It was his turn to fight, but who his opponent was took him by surprise. Naruto Uzumaki versus Sasuke Uchiha. Naruto turned to Sasuke and saw him giving him an evil smirk. Hiruzen turned to the two inside. In the event when two teammates are matched against each other, it would be up to them if they want to fight and they will not be disqualified. But if they do fight, the same rules as the other fights will apply. I'll let the team decide, Naruto said calmly. Of course we fight. We both know you've been itching to fight me for a while, Sasuke said. You're wrong. I used to want to fight you when you were a friend, but you changed. Now you're just another opponent I have to get past, Naruto said. Naruto, you are not ready to face Sasuke. You should forfeit and try again next year, Kakashi said. Naruto ignored him. Naruto-kun. Naruto turned to Yugao. It's time. Show everyone what you can do. You can and will beat him. You have something he doesn't drive, something to protect and support. Yugao, don't encourage him. He will get hurt, Kakashi said. Naruto took out his sword and handed it to Yugao. Can you hold this for me? Yugao nodded and took his sword. Naruto jumped down and soon Sasuke followed. Aw man, Naruto was the one opponent I wanted to fight, Choji said while eating some chips. Damn, it looks like Sasuke is going to move forward. There's no way that loser can beat the rookie of the year, Kiba said. Please, you two can't beat Naruto-kun, Ino said, surprising Choji and Kiba. How can you say that? Naruto was the dead last in the academy, Kiba said. Because that was the academy. The group turns to Sakura. What happened in the academy doesn't matter, especially since it was about a year ago. Training exists for a reason and Naruto-kun has beaten two Jonin-level opponents since then. So don't think because he was the dead last in the academy, he will remain the weakest forever. Why are you two defending him and not cheering for Sasuke? Fuck Sasuke, both Sakura and Ino said, surprising most people who knew they were his fangirls. Now Naruto, are you ready to face the power of the Uchiha? Sasuke asked, grinning with excitement. No, Naruto answered, confusing everyone. Because I already know how to make your Sharingan useless. Now this surprised everyone except Yugao, Karen, Tsunade and Hinoka. What are you talking about? Sasuke asked in rage. There's nothing stronger than Sharingan. Even if you could, why tell me? Because there's nothing you could do to stop me, Naruto answered calmly. Now if you two are done talking, you may begin. Naruto adopted the Senju Forest dance stance. Sasuke entered his interceptor stance but didn't activate his Sharingan. Now, come, Sasuke yelled. But Naruto didn't move, he just stood there calmly and patiently. Sasuke was seething when Naruto didn't respond because for his taijutsu to work, Naruto had to make the first move. Didn't you hear me? Naruto just stood there, one palm forward and one above his head. Good kid, he's getting aggravated. He will make the first move. There's no problem waiting for your prey. Naruto nodded and proceeded to wait for Sasuke. Fine, if you want do anything, Sasuke said, going through hand signs. I will fire style, fireball jutsu. Sasuke shot a fireball towards Naruto. As expected, Naruto said, holding his right palm towards the fireball. On his palm, it had the kanji, fire, and when the jutsu landed on Naruto's palm, it went into the seal. Sasuke's eyes widened and he seethed. What happened to my jutsu? Naruto just stared at him. We're fighting, why would I tell you? Sasuke gritted his teeth and activated his dojutsu. When Naruto saw this, he began going through hand signs at a blinding speed. Karen and Hinoka smiled. I see, so he does know that jutsu. I figure, but I'm surprised Uchiha would activate it after Naruto-kun warned him. Karen said. That's not possible. After all, I didn't teach Naruto any jutsu to stop the Sharingan. Kakashi said. Well, he must have had a different teacher. Kakashi turned to see Kuretsuchi approaching them. In the forest, I fought Naruto. He knew Kenjutsu that'll give most Jonin a hard time, some water ninjutsu and some unique clones. Also he took down one of those sounds with ease. Karen added. Kakashi narrowed his eyes. How does Naruto know Kenjutsu on that level? Also water ninjutsu, Kenjutsu. Kakashi's eyes widened and turned to Yugao. Naruto is your student, isn't he? Yugao smirked and folded her arms under her breast. Took you long enough to figure it out, Kakashi. Yes, I trained Naruto throughout most of the year. But why? He has me. And you fail him. Yugao cut him off. Did you forget who my sensei was? Kakashi thought about it before he realized who she was talking about. When he became your student, I trusted you to train him because I thought you would put in your best effort for his parents, but all he learned in 2 months was tree climbing. So I asked the Hokage to step in and I molded him into the shinobi I knew he could be. With his stamina and the power of his shadow clones, he was the best student anyone can ask for. He became my apprentice. Kakashi didn't know what to feel. He wanted Sasuke to be stronger because he was a flight risk and was going to train his other 2 students next year. But you don't know Fuinjutsu. I actually helped with that. Kakashi turned to Tsunade. After all, why wouldn't I help my grandson? Why your grandson? Kakashi repeated. Yes, and he told me all his experience with Team 7. We will talk later, understand Hitaki? Yes, Ma, Tsunade said before turning to Kiba. And you, Ma, you've been insulting my grandson since we started. I will be stopping by your compound and speaking to Sum-san about this. Kiba nodded and turned to the field. Kakusareta Yami, Nato said, but to everyone else, nothing happened. Everyone turned to Sasuke as he was screaming while holding his eyes. Dobi, what did you do? When Sasuke moved his hand, his eyes were black. Like I said, I made your dojutsu useless, Naruto said. As long as this jutsu is active, your Sharingan is not. You such a coward. Remove this jutsu and fight me for real. I think not, Naruto said before dashing towards the Uchiha. He kicked Sasuke back tumbling. Sasuke recollected himself and heard Naruto rushing him. He threw a punch in the direction but hit the air. Nice try, Tem, he heard before being punched in the face. Naruto made 2 cage bunshin and they began to run around the Uchiha, confusing him. Naruto, you will not beat me, Sasuke yelled, throwing shuriken in every direction but hitting nothing. Uzumaki barrage. Naruto and his clones yelled before two of them uppercutted him in the air and the real one dropped and kicked him to the ground. Sasuke slowly got up and felt a palm on his chest, but unknowing to him, it was the same palm that absorbed his attack earlier. Release. The fireball hit the Uchiha at close range, causing him to burn by his own technique and scream in pain. Sasuke's body just lied on the ground, shaking a bit. I can't believe Sasuke lost to Naruto, Choji said, dropping his chips. I knew he would win. Ino cheered. Yeah, that's showing him Naruto-kun. That's what he gets for treating us like shit, Shanaru. Sakura said. I can't believe Sasuke lost, Kakashi said. He trained the boy for months, even if it was not high-tier techniques, him being a Uchiha should have put him at an advantage. Kiba's mouth was wide open. Yugao didn't say anything, she felt something build up in the Uchiha. She looked down at her student and saw him narrowing his eyes at Sasuke as well, but he didn't seem worried. Flashback a day ago. Knock knock, come in. Kabuto walked in with a smirk. Sasuke cocked an eyebrow. Kabuto, right, what are you doing here? Sasuke asked. That curse mark on your neck, my master instructed me to help you master its power. That's what you crave, am I right? Kabuto asked. Who are you? Sasuke asked. Don't worry about it, Kabuto said, reaching into his pocket and pulling out a container with a black pill. The question is, do you have the hatred to control this power? Sasuke slowly got on his knees and a black swirl of chakra started to surround his body. He then started to laugh maniacally. This is the power I've been searching for, I see now. This isn't a curse, this is a gift, Sasuke said as black marks appeared on his body. Kid, be careful, I sense a great evil coming from him. You might have to use one of your hidden techniques. How about? Naruto listened and nodded. I got it, that's one of my weaker techniques and not as chakra consuming. Naruto agreed with his partner. Naruto deactivated his seal and went into a defensive stance. Sasuke gave Naruto an evil smirk and went through some hand signs. Kaden. Ryuga no Jutsu. Sasuke shot a torrent of flame towards Naruto. Naruto races through some hand signs before to protect himself. Sweden. Tsuchinheki. Naruto shot a wall of water out of his mouth, meeting the flames. To Naruto's surprise, shurikens came out of the water. He must have used the flames to cover them. Naruto whipped out a kunai and parried them. Sasuke used the distraction and got behind the blonde with his hand covered in lightning. Naruto turned the round and saw the attack coming, but he was grabbed by the neck. Thinking quickly, he used his left palm to redirect the attack to his left shoulder. Naruto let out a loud painful scream as he was pinned to the floor. Naruto-kun, San, multiple people yelled out in a worried tone. Karen, Enko, Tsunade, Honka and Yugao started to radiate killer intent. Man, how crazy did Sasuke get? Shikamaru asked. To do that to your own teammate, Choki added. Kakashi was shocked and shaking in fear for his blonde student. This isn't supposed. He was interrupted when he was pinned to the wall by an angry snake mistress. He saw Anko's eyes and the hatred in them right now scared the shit out of him. You fucking moron. You taught a mentally deranged boy an A- rank jutsu. If anything happens to Naruto-kun, I'm killing you and the Uchiha. And trust me, I will make it as painful as possible. Anko said. Hinoka rested a hand on Anko, causing her to calm down before tossing Kakashi to the ground. Naru-chan, hang in there, Tsunade pleaded. She was about to jump over the rail until Yugao grabbed her. Tsunade turned with a confused look. It's not over, Yugao said. Yugao was trembling in anger, but she knew of Naruto's healing factor from their missions. You redirect the attack to your shoulder to stop me from giving a lethal blow, but it doesn't matter. You won't be able to use that arm of yours any longer, Sasuke said sinisterly. You want to bet? Naruto yelled before uppercutting Sasuke, sending him flying. Sasuke hit the ceiling before falling onto the ground. When he stood back up, his eyes widened when he saw the wound he just caused being healed. Naruto lifted his head up and his eyes were slit in gold, his whiskers were darker. The chakra around his body was gold as well. Sasuke, you just made a big mistake trying to kill me. Time to take your punishment. How? What the hell are you, Naruto? Sasuke yelled in anger. I can't believe it. Naruto was able to fuse his and Kuruma's chakra, and somehow purifying it, the Hachibi said. What do you mean 8-0? Well, to put it simply, Naruto is pouring his chakra into Kurama and Kurama is sending it back to him, mixing it with own. Somehow they balance it out. Usually when Jinchurikis use Biju chakra, they hold their own chakra and fill their chakra network with the Biju chakra. Naruto somehow purified using his body and Kurama fueling it. Is there a side effect? Yes, he can only use the amount his body handles, but he won't lose control. Naruto breathed in as the gold chakra receded into him and stared at Sasuke with his gold eyes. Alright Tem, I hope you are ready. Sasuke activated his Sharingan before Naruto disappeared and reappeared behind. Sasuke turned around and was met with a punch to the face, sending him flying. Naruto chased after him and more Narutos appeared, but there was no smoke. Sasuke collected himself and threw a kick towards the closest Naruto, but his leg went through him. A fake, but I feel like I have seen this technique before, Sasuke said, but was surprised when the Naruto he kicked through combo him from the stomach up and kicked him to the wall. I'm not done. Naruto grabbed his face and ran him against the wall before tossing him to another Naruto. Sasuke saw this and threw a kunai towards the Naruto he was headed to, but his weapon went through him again. Once he came close to that particular Naruto, he was kicked into the air. Sasuke used his chakra to stick to the ceiling before glaring at the blonde. You didn't think I would realize. How do you know? Shisui ne illusion dance. You're lucky Naruto-kun is alright, Hatake, Enko said with venom. You need to rein the Uchiha in, he almost killed my grandson. Tsunade threatened. I'm glad Naruto-kun is alright, Sakura said before glaring at the Uchiha. This is the second time he tried to kill his teammate. Don't worry, forehead, Naruto will kick his ass, Ino cheered. That Uchiha is dishonorable, Yukito said. She was upset at what the Uchiha did, but she knew Naruto, but being a Jinchuriki, she knew Naruto would recover. So uncool, Uchiha-san is filled with hate and so much pride. Plus to kill your own teammate. Is he that jealous? Samui said. None of you damn business, now let's continue, Naruto said before disappearing in a blur. Sasuke followed suit and the two began a taijutsu brawl, but Naruto had the upper hand. Sasuke was getting angrier by the minute. How did the Dobi get this strong? Sasuke went for a punch and Naruto countered with an arm to the face. He's a nobody. Sasuke went in for a kick, but Naruto grabbed his leg and tossed him away. I'm an Uchiha, I shouldn't be losing like this. Sasuke jumped off the wall and charged him through the air. Naruto met him halfway and lariated him, then axe kicked him to the ground, creating a crater. I will not lose to a CLANLESS nobody. Sasuke's body started to transform into Curse Mark Stage 2 with wings growing out his back in the shape of hands. Naruto narrowed his eyes at the Uchiha. So that's how far you'll go, Naruto said in a disappointing tone. This ends now, Naruto. Sasuke charged up a black Chidori and flew toward Naruto. I was going to save this jutsu, but I have no choice. Futon. Tatsu no Oshigoto. Naruto created a tornado dragon that engulfed the Uchiha and slammed into the ceiling as it tore up his body. Soon the wind died. died down and Sasuke was back to his normal form, falling to the ground unconsciously. Naruto breathed in and his features turned back to normal. Hayate approached the two and raised a hand towards Naruto. Winner is Naruto Uzumaki. The medics came up to the field and took Sasuke to the infirmary. Naruto jumped up the rail and approached Yugao and bowed. I'm sorry, Yugao-sensei. I shouldn't have underestimated him and used my sword. Why didn't you use it? Because I might have killed him and didn't want to take the chance since he's a teammate, even if it's only a title now. Naruto answered. And I'm proud. You showed you had more self-control and used the necessary tools to take him down. Good job, my apprentice, Yugao said, patting his head. Sakura glommed the male blonde in a hug and Ino hugged him from the other arm. Naruto felt them quivering a bit inside. I'm sorry for worrying you too. It's okay, Sakura said. It wasn't your fault, Ino added. Naruto nodded and turned to the three people who were worried the most, Tsunade, Shizune and Anko. He went to Tsunade first, who gave him a bone-crushing hug. I'm sorry, Ba-chan. Shush, it wasn't your fault, just like Sakura said. The Uchiha needs therapy and to fix his ego. I'm glad you are okay. Tsunade let go, and as soon as she did, Shizune hugged him from behind. Good job on your win, was all she said before kissing him on the cheek. Naruto relaxed in her hug, but to his dismay, she releases him. Naruto looked at Anko and walked in front of her. Hubby, hi. Anko pulled Naruto's head to her breast and he felt tears falling on his head, but fortunately for her, her back was turned to everyone else. I thought I lost you. I was scared. Don't worry, I won't die until we have our wedding and start our family. Plus, I still need to become Hokage, Naruto said, hugging her back. I'll make it up to you later, he whispered in her ear, causing to give him a sexy grin. I'll hold you to that, Anko said before giving him a quick kiss on the lips. Now everyone pay attention to the screen, Hayate ordered as the screen started to change. When it stopped, Naruto turned to Sakura and smiled. It's your turn, Sakura-chan. Sakura turned to Naruto and smiled. A kiss for good luck. Naruto chuckled and pecked her on the lips. Sakura jumped down and waited for her opponent. Sakura Haruno versus Kiba Inuzuka. Kiba jumped down and smirked at the pinkett. Wow, we really got lucky. You're weaker than Naruto, right, Akamaru? The dog barks in agreement. I'm not as weak as you think, mutt, Sakura yelled. I'll kick his ass and send him back to the dog pound, Shanero. Inner Sakura said. Kiba, do not underestimate your opponent, Kurenai scolded. Please, sensei, she's a weak fangirl. But I'm nice enough to give you one free hit, Kiba said, spreading out his arms. Sakura smirked. Fine, but it's your fault if you lose, Sakura said, walking up to the boy. Please, if you think you can beat me in one punch, you are dumber than. Kiba didn't get to finish when he was hit in the jaw by a super strong punch, sending him halfway through the wall. Kiba was blacked out with a swollen cheek and a few teeth missing, buried in the wall. Kurenai rubbed her face disappointedly. Hayate's sweat dropped a bit. Winner Sakura Haruno. Sakura jumped up and approached Tsunade. How was that shisho? Sakura asked. You still haven't mastered it, but I have to admit he was a good practice dummy. Good job, Sakura, Tsunade said. Sakura beamed with pride until she felt a kiss on the cheek, causing her to blush. I knew you could do it, my cherry blossom, Naruto said, wrapping an arm around her. Sakura had a tint of pink on her cheek and a small smile. Next match, Hinata Hyuga versus Neji Hyuga. But guys, I am ending it here. If you enjoy the content, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. But I am out and we'll see you in the next video. Stay blessed, fam.